Hi everybody and welcome back to Tales of Wanderlust. I'm Cass, this is Jasper, and if you want a tour of our truck camper, then stay tuned. Alright, welcome in everybody to our truck camper. So this is my 2005 Lance 845. I have a bunch of other videos as to why I purchased this, so I'm not going to get too much into that. So today it's really just going to be a tour of what this is like when we're actually living in it. So right now we are in a parking spot right on the side of the street in Tucson, Arizona. It is the Day of the Dead procession. So this is one of the reasons that I got a truck camper, because I fit into a normal parking spot and I have my entire house with me. So we came here early to get parking. Jasper can hang out in the truck camper while I go to the procession. And then I also have my own bathroom, my own food, so I can actually make dinner before I get ready, use my own restroom, and then go to the procession, which is a couple of hours, and then there's events after, and then I can come back here and leave. If I didn't have the truck camper, what I'd be doing is parking the trailer somewhere and then coming in much closer to the event, so Jasper is not alone for as long, and then fighting to find parking, worrying about Jasper the whole time because he was so far away, and then trying to get out of here and get back to Jasper after the event. And doing that, he'd be alone for 5-6 hours. Whereas here, since we're parked, I can take him for a walk and everything before I get ready, and he's only alone for like 2 hours. So this is the real reason I ended up switching to a truck camper. So while I am sitting here in this parking spot in the rain, let me give you a tour, and this is mostly how everything looks when we're living in it, because I haven't cleaned in a couple of days. Let's start up in the bed area. First thing about the bed area, I actually can't sit up straight in it. So the Lance 845, which is one of the older truck campers, has a bed area you can't sit up in. So someday, if I do keep this, I've got like a 8 to 10 inch bed right now. I might try to put like that Froley system and then a thinner mattress so I can maybe get a little bit more headroom. Up here, I do have a full, not a full, but like a real full-size queen bed. Kind of a oxymoron, because it's not a full-size bed, it's a queen-size bed, but it's like a regular full mattress. So it is coils, which I like. My back likes a lot more, but the lack of headroom does get annoying after a while. So when you're laying in bed and you sit up, you do hit your head. After I've been in a house for a while, the first few nights I spend in this truck camper, I do get a little claustrophobic up here. Then you get used to it and it's really not that bad. But it's a lot harder to like lay in bed and read and things like that, because you're really laying in bed. You're not sitting up in bed, you're laying. Works great for this guy. What else do we have up here? We have on either side of the bed some space. And then there's cabinets on both sides, which is where I store all of my clothes. And then over here, there is a cabinet, which actually has water because I did not dump the water out of the dog bowl when I drove. So it sprayed everywhere, which is something I need to just get a dog bowl with a lid, but haven't gotten that yet. And then I've got a drawer here. So when Jasper and I travel together, we leave the space like this. And then over here on this side, there's a dog bed. And basically it expands the mattress a little bit. When Michael and Emma come along with us, this bed area is so tight. Then we have this dog bed on this side. I put a similar dog bed on that side, and then it makes us wider than a king size bed. So the two dogs, Michael and I, can sleep up here pretty comfortably. If I do end up doing that like Froley system, I'm gonna do a custom mattress and just do a mattress the entire width, or at least the width of a king size bed, because I need sheets to cover it. All of that I'll figure out later. So I also have a little cubby over here in the corner, which is where I store my iPad. And then there's a lot of cords. I've got the Starlink Mini, and I actually just put it up through this ceiling vent. So someday I'm gonna mount this, and then I won't have all these cords and everything sitting right here. But for now, this is what we have. And then I do have the escape hatch. So this opens up completely, which I actually love, because I can sit my head up here. Not very gracefully, but I can. And I can, one, check on my solar panels, two, look at the sunset or the sunrise. And it also gives you a really cool perspective because I'm 12 feet off the ground, if not more. So it's really dirty right now, but the solar panels are clean because of the rain. I have a huge wind guard antenna, which if I ever want to put on a 4th solar panel, so I have 400 watts, I'd actually have to remove that antenna. So another project I haven't yet done. And then I do have crossbars, and I do have an old Thule. So I have thought about putting it up there in case I need any extra storage, but I haven't had to have that yet. So, all right, back inside we go. All right. All right, now we are, my hair's all over the place. Now we're back in a spot where I can actually sit up straight, which is nice. So now that we are in the back main living area, I'll start over here in the kitchen. So in the kitchen, I've got this pretty big cabinet. It's really deep, so it's harder to organize because it's narrow but deep. Got a lot of bins and things like that, and I try to make it work that way. Over here is where the microwave used to be. So I took the microwave out, and instead of making a cabinet door, I just put up some netting, and that actually holds all of my plates, cups, everything in there really nicely. I've never had an issue. And then in this kitchen, I've got this one drawer. That's it. So this netting up here is actually where I put my cutlery. I do carry like backpacking, really lightweight cutlery with me, so there's not much weight up here. So cutlery goes up there. My Bluetooth speaker, which I like having on. So this drawer here is where I end up putting things like my spatulas, lighters, wine opener, whisk, that sort of stuff, kitchen knives. Underneath that is my heater. So this camper does not have ducted heating. Well, it technically does. It has ducted heating into the bathroom. Other than that, all of the heat comes out of here. So that is one thing about this rig, is it's not my favorite to winter camp in, because all the heat comes out here, it blasts here, and then yes, heat rises, so it does keep the bed area warm-ish, but when it's really cold, you're floating in the bed area. There's air underneath you, all around you, so it does get pretty cold up in the bed area. So I do need to carry extra blankets with me or keep the heat higher than I'm used to having a truck camper versus when I lived in a trailer. Then over here, I have my stove, 3 burners. This lid is a little wonky, so you gotta like pull it to shut it. And then in here I have an oven. I've actually never used the oven, but it's where I store my pots and my skillet. I shouldn't say pots. I travel with 1 pot and then a 10-inch skillet. Both of those sit very nicely in there, and they've never had an issue coming out or anything. That stays right there. Then over here, I have a 2-sink area. The counter space is a little bit weird in here. There's not much room when you're cooking. The table here in the dining room is actually on a lagoon, which is what the camera is sitting on right now. And then this dog step right here, which I added, this is also a really good spot to open the fridge, take things out, put it on here. So that's kind of how I chop here on the kitchen table. I like leave food here, something in that fridge does not smell good. And then I cook here, and I have the sink to dump dishes in. So it's kind of a big circle, which works nicely. And then underneath the sink is mostly plumbing, but I do have some of my cleaning stuff in there. That's also where the hot water tank is. So I've got a 3-gallon hot water tank. It is not my favorite because you have to light it from the outside. So I'm used to an Airstream, and there's a nice button you press inside. You don't have that in here. So I have to walk outside, turn on the lighter, which is an electric lighter at least, and then hold the propane for 30 seconds and get it to light. Sometimes it doesn't do it. It's a little bit of a pain. And then I have to come back in here, wait for the water to warm up, go out, turn off the hot water heater. So if I keep the rig, someday I might update that. But for now, it actually causes me to shower a lot less than I normally would if it was a button. So I've gotten really good at sponge baths. So over here in the corner, in the kitchen, are 2 bowls. Jasper's food bowl and my sponge bath bowl. So those actually sit right on the counter in the corner. They don't move when I drive, which is nice. So they actually just sit right there, and it works pretty well, actually. I also don't drink the water out of my tanks. So I have my own drinking water jug. I don't drink the water out of my tanks because when I had to pull some of the lines to fix them, the amount of buildup on the inside of the lines was really gross. So I do have underneath here a water filter that I added. So I do give Jasper water, like his drinking water comes out of the sink, my cooking water comes out of the sink, my coffee water, you know, I'm boiling it. So that kind of stuff is fine. It's filtered than boiled, so I feel okay with that. But my cold tap drinking water, I carry here. Thankfully, because of the dog step, there's kind of a secret cubby down in here now. You can just sit right on top of where the water tank is, and then my dirty laundry bag is underneath that. If Napoleon does come with me, who's my cat, his litter box actually slides right underneath here as well. Somebody's walking by. Guard dog is on duty. The funniest part is when this happens, he's most annoyed he got woken up from his nap. Then the other thing I have in my kitchen is, of course, fridge. So this is an all-electric fridge that I put in here. There used to be a much larger fridge in this cutout, but I need space for my electrical. So I went with a smaller fridge. I do not recommend this fridge at all. I do need to get a sticker and cover this because I don't actually want to show the brand at all, because I do not recommend this fridge. I actually left this fridge a really bad review on Amazon and they asked me to take it down. So this is an all-electric fridge. I much prefer having all-electric than propane because I don't have to worry about it. I can drive and not have to shut the fridge off, shut the propane off. It just stays going all the time being electric. And then I also don't have to be level because I'm really not usually level in the truck camper. And then over here is all my electrical stuff squeezed in, completely sealed off all the vents on the back side, not the top one. So there's a top one to help let heat out. So I put basically a wall in there. So if any water comes into that vent, it goes down behind the wall and out. And then I will build a panel here to cover everything. That is still kind of in the works. I do have a plug that comes out of it, and that is where I plug my Starlink into. So again, someday I'm going to switch all of this over to DC because right now my Starlink runs off AC. So I have to have the inverter on, but this is kind of the powerhouse of my whole electrical system. I do have 300 watts of Zamp Obsidian solar panels on the roof. I've got the 2000 watt Victron inverter. If I ever need to do maintenance, the fridge is 2 screws and it slides out, and I can lift it myself. So that's kind of a big thing. And then I have a 270 amp hour Battleborn lithium battery that is actually underneath the bench. If I'm ever out winter camping or if I'm at home and I need to plug in, charge the battery, I can turn the heater of the battery on, and then the panel to actually monitor the battery is right here. Underneath that, I have my AT&T Wi-Fi hotspot, which I use when I'm not using my Starlink. And then I've got my thermostat for my heater. So this is kind of my mini control panel. Over here in the dining area, this is where I spend most of my time. This is where I do my full-time job, and then I also eat all of that stuff. So up here used to actually be a bunk. In the standard 845 models, there's a bunk. You fold down the whole top. There's a mattress that expands, and somebody can actually sleep up there, which is pretty crazy to me. But the nice thing is it's a really good solid shelf. So I took all of that out, put this live edge piece of wood on here, and the shelf starts right about here. So that gives these baskets a really good amount of room for holding them in securely. I put all of Jasper's dog stuff, put my computer miscellaneous stuff, I put more miscellaneous stuff. Here, you can't see them, but I have Jasper's dog food pouches, all my toiletries, and then my laptop and my extra monitor are actually hiding over there in the corner. This was an old hunting rig, and so these cushions were actually sticky and they smelled. So this is all new foam, all brand new cushions that I had done. These pillows I kind of use just as a backrest. I'm currently charging my iPad, so it's sitting here. And then the nice thing is this table is on a lagoon. So normally when I'm not parked on the street, this is a big open window. So you get lots of light and lots of great views. And then I can sit here like this. I just poured my water all over the floor. Now that we have a clear table, you can pull this around and I can work. So this is where I work, eat, do a lot of that kind of stuff. So I do have a monitor that I set up. I have my laptop, my speakers, my camera, all of that good stuff here. The one thing I will say about the lagoon table is, yes, this is a bigger table and it is a little bit heavier. Just the way they're built, notice how there's a little bit of give in it, so it bends over time. So if you listen, when I move, it scrapes. So I still love the lagoon table because in this space, right, like I need to be able to bring it over here as a workspace for when I'm in the kitchen. I need to be able to have it here when I'm working, and when I'm not working, I like to slide it over there so it's kind of out of the way. This is more open, but it does definitely sink and sag over time. So just know that it's one of those things. It does wear over time. I would still buy one. hands down, because it is very useful in a space like this. So with that, you'll see that this actually has a full, well, not a full U dinette, but it's got like a most U dinette. And with that, I'm not gonna move everything to actually build it right now, but this does come out. Oh my gosh, I'm just having a day today. So now I have another thing to fix when I get home. This is supposed to pull out. Meh. And then you could actually move all the cushions around in order to make this into a bed. And then down here, there's a little step. And so I've built this camper because Jasper is getting older. So I want him to have smaller jumps up and smaller jumps down because he is a German Shepherd mix. So I want to be careful of those hips. So he can actually come into the camper, step on this step, then the dinette, then the dog step, then the bed. Underneath this step too is where I have a bunch of my storage, and that's like electronic storage. So my work camera, charging cables, all that good stuff. And then finally, there is a bathroom. So it is a wet bath, but honestly, it's perfect. I've got hanging here for towels. I actually hang my towel out here. So that's just the way I am. I don't want my towel in a stinky bathroom. So I put the bath mat, because I put that down on the floor so I step out onto something clean, but I actually leave my hair towel and my towel outside, which these are the best. So you take your towel, you stick it in there, and you pull down. So you know when you're driving down the road with your RV and your towels go flying everywhere? Not with these. It's amazing. In here, it is a standard wet bath. You got your toilet hooked up to a black tank. I wish it was a cassette toilet, just a preference, but you're not gonna get that in your 2005. So I do have a black toilet, little sink, which I don't use other than just holding stuff. I have my shower stuff, my new Oxygenetics head I put in, which is much better than the standard ones, and then just a small cabinet there. So regular bathroom. It is enough that I can shower in there when I actually do want to turn on the hot water heater. And it's really pretty great. That's kind of it. That is my truck camper. So this is the dog step here, and I actually end up sitting on it quite often because I put my feet up on the counter. And yes, I do travel with sanitary wipes because I have to sanitize a lot of the surfaces a lot, but I sit here and lean against my creaky fridge quite often. And then Jasper hangs out up here. So in terms of specs, this thing has a 30-gallon water tank, which to me is important because especially when you're traveling in the winter, it can sometimes be hard to find fresh water if you're especially in Colorado or Utah where it freezes. So I like having water and not worrying about that. So I actually usually have to dump my tanks twice during the time that one freshwater tank lasts for me. So I've got a 10-gallon black and a 10-gallon gray tank, 30-gallon fresh, and then I carry the 6 gallons drinking water. So I actually travel around with 36 gallons of water. It is now past time when I was supposed to start getting ready. So I'm gonna go get ready for the Day of the Dead procession, go check that out. This guy's gonna nap for a couple hours and then I'll be back with him and we'll head on for the evening and actually drive on down to a rest stop and then hit the road tomorrow and head on home. So if you have any questions on the rig, any of the renovations I did to it, those kind of things, let me know. Otherwise, we will see you next time. So thank you so much for watching, everybody.